Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media, where you get information that you can use. I'm your host, Ida Crawford. But before we dive in, subscribe to Just Minding My Business on our YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts. Share Just Minding My Business with your family, friends, and colleagues. Engage with us by leaving a review or comment. Your support keeps this podcast going and growing. Visit our website at jmmbmediallc.com to learn how we can support you in getting more visibility on your products and services. So grab your notebook and pen and get ready for information that you can use. Well, today I am so happy to bring to Just Minding My Business Dan Thompson, who is a seasoned financial advisor and business owner with almost 4 decades of experience. He started his career as a stockbroker in 1986, but after witnessing the 2001 stock market crash, he realized the need for safer and more predictable investment strategies. He researched and discovered unique strategies, including the infinite banking concept, which he uses by combining specially designed whole life insurance policies to build cash value and access tax free loans. Wow, I can't wait. So, welcome, Dan. Let's jump right in because you have definitely an extensive background. You actually breathe and eat this stuff. I can tell.
It's true.
So let's talk about a little bit about non-traditional investing. We know why you decided to leave what the traditional way. So let's talk about some of the non-traditional ways of investing.
Yeah, sure. Well, first, thanks for having me. This will be a lot of fun and hopefully give your listeners some good stuff to think about anyway. Yeah, so after that dot-com boom and bust, I just had to go find a better way and I'd heard obviously about life insurance and cash value life insurance, but I never really saw a way to use it other than to die. And and most of my clients weren't interested in dying, so we wanted to find a way to kind of use it while we're living. And there's some really neat things that you can do. One of the first things we try to do with most of our clients is first get a policy built up, get as much capital in there as they can, and then we start to leverage that into other assets. One thing that we found is that the infinite banking concept, although it has a good foundation, it kind of lacks in the fact that it teaches you how to buy things. So in other words, when you want to get your next car or buy an RV or go on vacation, how to use your policy to do that. And then as you pay back that policy or that loan, you're kind of paying yourself. And that, that's nice and can do okay and maybe save some interest. But where I found it lacked is we wanted to get into assets that produced more cash flow to that appreciated in value and that it maybe even gave us some tax advantages. The problem with traditional financial planning as a whole is that it relies a lot of times on just retirement plans, 401ks, IRAs, things like that. Those are typically stocked full of mutual funds that are obviously in the stock market, and it doesn't give you the freedom to get involved in things like real estate and equipment leasing and e-commerce and all the different things that are out there that are more alternative, can be much safer, can be much more predictable, and can give you some huge tax advantages. So that kind of has evolved over the last 20 plus years as we've learned more and more how to utilize and leverage these policies.
Wow, that's interesting. So having a cash value, is there a particular kind of policy you should get? Because a lot of times they just have the cash value type. Um, Is there another?
Yeah, you definitely want it well designed and you want it designed for cash value. So
Okay.
what we try to do is get the least amount of death benefit that we have to get to make the IRS happy so we can keep the tax advantages inside of the policy. Because done right, a policy grows tax free, should throw off income tax free, and then eventually leave a legacy or a death benefit tax free. So you need it well designed. You need it from a company that has a very good track record. So we analyze these companies inside and out. And we use both whole life and what's called an indexed universal life, and we kind of blend them together so that we get the advantages of both of them simultaneously. But yeah, you just don't want to call up some insurance guy and say, "Hey, I want to start a policy," because chances are it's going to be revolving around death benefit instead of how to utilize and leverage a policy.
So do you help people find the right policy?
Oh,
'Cause
absolutely. Yeah, we've got a team of advisors. I think we're up to about 90 advisors across the country. We
mm,
have 45 staff that do nothing but help with designs, and we have our own financing department. So we have a very good staff to help get all this stuff done right.
wow, that's awesome because most people, when they have to buy any kind of insurance, the languaging is not designed a lot of times for us to understand. And then it's so much to read that you pretty much need to pass the policy to a lawyer and and get it, word by word explained because it's just so convoluted, you know what I mean? And I think it's by design because they really don't, they want to try to, they're about making money, it's all about making money.
Well, then a lot of times we'll use what's called a mutual company because a mutual company is actually owned by the policy owners. So we
Okay.
all own it together. And so the company essentially works for us. And that keeps those ulterior motives of just making money because the money they make eventually gets passed down to the policy owners. So that helps a little bit. But you're exactly right. It can be complicated. We do simplify the process. We put everything into our own design so people can see exactly where the money's going, how it flows. And then if they have opportunities that they want to get involved with, great. Otherwise, we'll talk to them about some opportunities that we have access to work those policies, to get them leveraged, and to increase that rate of return.
Wow, that's amazing. You're the first.
Yeah. well, Well, and we're extremely unique in the way we finance and pay premiums and so forth, which I won't go into here because it's a little bit more detailed. But the fact is that people will look at this differently than they've seen any other insurance policy or design because it is very unique and very strategic in tax management. We want to make sure our clients are paying the absolute least amount of tax. And in many cases, we eliminate taxes for our clients.
Wow. So how do people connect with you?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Wise Money Tools. I think I've got over 500 videos out there. Been putting them out there for a while. And but the easiest way is just to jump on the wisemoneytools.com website or email me Dan at wisemoneytools.com. Happy to show how we do things.
Wow, because I'm already seeing the uniqueness in what you do. And we've only been talking for a few minutes.
Well, like you said in the beginning, I've been at this 38 years. I've seen just about everything out there. And and the truth is, not just saying this because of it's me, but we are extremely unique. I pretty much know what's out there, what other advisors are doing, and I don't see anybody doing what we're doing.
Yes, I have, you're the first because I've talked to quite a few insurance people and they've never, ever, ever said what you just said. Not ever. Okay. Wow. I gotta take a minute to digest that.
Well, it gets really fun because as you've got that capital inside the policy, you can start looking for some really unique opportunities. I'll give you just an example in my own personal life. I pump as much as I can into policies as fast as I can, and then like this year, I was able to acquire a student housing complex at Texas A&M. I bought some office buildings in Boise where I live. I also have a home building company that I fund through the policies as well. So there's really good things you can do. Again, we've got some great opportunities as well, so that you know every investment that you do will get better if you've used your life insurance to fund it. So we've got some really cool calculators to show people that it doesn't matter what they want to do, it'll get better if they've used their life insurance to fund it.
Wow. That is definitely amazing. Now, one of the questions I have, a lot of times to build up the cash value, it takes a while. So, how do you streamline that time to get that cash built up quicker?
Yeah, great question. So, a couple different ways. One is, again, it goes back to the design. Is it designed for death benefit or is it designed for cash value? And sadly, many advisors out there don't know how to design for cash value. So, when you do that, we literally have access to a good portion of the money, just even a week or two after we start the policy. So, we typically have cash right away. If we're working with a business owner and they're able to work with larger sums of money, oftentimes we can get as much as 90, 95% of their premium available to them within just a few days.
Wow, that's impressive. That is
It really
quite
helps. And
impressive.
because we're so about leveraging and working the capital and not just having it sit there, we want as much cash value as quick as possible so we can take advantage of opportunities.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like turning that money over into other commodities
Well,
that bring more
absolutely.
money.
And the nice part about an insurance policy is when you take a loan against it, the money's still working inside the policy as if you never touched it.
Mhm.
And you put the dollar over here too. So you get $2 working for the same with the same dollar, and then three and then four. And you can have $1 doing a lot of work for you.
Wow. And I mean, that should be the goal of every business person. We want our money to work harder for us than we work for it. That's the whole idea.
You hit it right on the head. And I tell, people all the time, until you can replace your current income from your job, you can never retire. So you really from the very start of saving and investing, you should be looking for things that are going to produce cash flow for you so that it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're 40, 50, 60, you can retire because you've got plenty of cash flow coming in. And so our focus is on, again, growing, compounding, and cash flow tax advantages so that you can replace that 9 to 5 income as soon as possible.
Yes, you touched on the 401ks, and that's mainly the main one that everybody offers. And it's all tied up with the stock market, which is very, it's up and down. Just
Yeah, it can definitely be volatile. I think worse than the risk of the stock market is the fact that you can't touch that money until you're 59 and a half, 60 years old.
right.
And so it's in what we call 401k jail. And an opportunity might come along, a business, a piece of real estate, all these different things that might come along that you can't get involved in because your 401k can't invest in them. And
Right.
so that to me is more of a crime. But here's the worst part: the only way to win in a 401k is to take the money out at retirement time at a lower tax bracket than when you put it in. And the sad part is many retirees aren't retiring in lower tax brackets than they were in. And so if I save the money, let's say at 30 years old, and I was in a 25% tax bracket, and then when I retire at 65, I'm in a 30% tax bracket, that's a big
Mhm.
loser.
Yeah.
I should have never deferred the tax and paid a higher tax later. And that's rarely taken into consideration. When I see these young 20 somethings getting their first job out of college, and the first thing that happens is here comes the personnel director, hey, start your 401k. And they're probably in the lowest tax bracket they'll ever be in. So
Mhm.
this is the time to get rid of the tax and get it into a place where it'll never be taxed again, and be able to use and capitalize your funds instead of throwing it at 22, 25 years old into a 401k that you can't even see for 40 years. And you're likely, especially with the way the government spends money, you're likely to be in a higher tax bracket if you've had any success in your life down the road. So there's some few things to think about before you just dump money into a 401k.
Wow. I am learning so much right now.
All right.
And I know my audience is gonna learn because I'm, like, wild. I am, utterly wild at this concept. And who woulda knew? That's why I love doing this.
Well, I tell you what, it's fun for us too. We get to work with hundreds and hundreds of clients and investors each year. We do millions of this stuff every year, and it's fun because we never have to worry about crashes. We never have to worry about losing the money, and then all we do is just kind of work with how much we can put in, how fast we can get it in, and then where we might want to deploy it from there.
Now, let me just ask you another question. I know when you're dealing with insurance, the younger you are, the better. What happens if you up in age and you wanna get on the wagon?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. So what we do is we offset the cost with the amount of death benefit. Let me just give you an example. Let's say I'm 30 years old and I want to put $50,000 into a policy. Well, that might equate to 1.5 million in death benefit. I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know
Okay.
if that's now. Let's say I'm 60 years old and I want to put 50,000 in. Well, instead of making that a cost prohibitive transaction, so to speak, what we'll do is we'll just lower the death benefit to maybe 1 million or 900,000 or something like that. So what we do is we just pay for less death benefit, and still from a cash value perspective, the 30-year-old and the 60-year-old has about the same amount of cash value. It's just the 60-year-old has a little less death benefit.
Okay, so everybody can get in.
Everybody can get in. Yeah, I think the most companies will go to age 75. So you can get up there a little bit.
Oh, okay, okay, so there you go. And we don't wanna leave nobody out if we don't have to, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know about this.
Yeah, it's getting better and better, and obviously we have a lot of stuff going on in our YouTube channels and TikToks and everything. So we definitely try to get the word out, and again, we've got quite an advisory team nationwide. So we're making a dent.
Yes, yes, and I'm just so glad, Dan, that we met because you have just rocked my world.
I love to hear that. That's awesome.
Yes, indeed, and I know that people that see this and listen to this, you be a fool if you don't reach out.
Well,
Literally,
I always say it's worth exploring. I
yes.
wish we could say we help 100% of the people. Sometimes we can't help them based on different circumstances and health and so forth, but we have a lot of different ways to get this thing done. But I think it's always worth exploring, see how it might fit in your situation. Let us run a design. There's no cost or obligation to get a design in front of you just to see if it's even something that might be feasible for you.
So again, how do people connect with you?
Yeah, Dan at wisemoneytools.com is my email. Jump on my website, wisemoneytools.com, YouTube, Wise Money Tools. Just type in Wise Money Tools on YouTube, and there's hundreds of videos, and definitely plenty of ways to reach out.
Yes, indeed. So, quick question. Why did you even get into the financial arena? What was your motivation?
Okay. Real story, true story. I'm 15 years old. I grew up in a very, I would say, low income earning family. My dad worked really hard, but just never had enough money to make it to the end of the month. Struggled. And so even from 12 years old, when I wanted something, needed something, I'd go try to find some work and, to be able to buy it. I was landscaping houses and working and moving dirt and everything I could. But I'm 15 years old. I'm in the back seat of the car with my dad, and he's got a friend. His name is Dave, and Dave somehow was a good friend of his, really wealthy. And he had mentioned that he made $30,000 that month in the stock market. And I'm 15 years old making 250 an hour, and I'm calculating that would take me 9 years to make $30,000, and he does it in 30 days. Well, literally from that moment on, I said to myself, somehow, some way, I have to be a stockbroker, because if Dave made money, the stockbroker must make even more because he's the guy with the information. Well, fast forward a few years, when I became a stockbroker, I realized most of those guys were broke, but um, but the fact is that's what motivated me to become a financial advisor. And then I've just always been on the quest to find better ways, safer ways, more predictable ways, more tax advantaged ways. So just even to this day, we just always have our feelers out there for ways to, build upon what we've got. And from stockbroker to traditional financial advisor to realizing I even got to find something different from that has led me to where I am today.
Wow. I
Long story, sorry.
It's fun. It's fun. I'm just so glad we met.
Well, I'm glad to meet you too. This has been fun.
Yes, indeed. Wow. So, one more time, because I want to make sure people connect with you.
Dan at wisemoneytools.com.
All righty now. So, Dan, thank you so much. You have absolutely made my day.
Well, thank you. That makes my day that I made your day.
And we definitely have to do this again because I think people need to, hear this more and definitely take advantage of Dan's YouTube channel because I mean we only doing a few minutes compared to the ton of knowledge he has on his YouTube channel. So definitely get on over there and check that out. I'm gonna check it out as soon as we get done.
Well, good. Well, happy to help anything I can do. And like I say, I think it's worth exploring. That's the bottom
Yes.
line.
Yes, exactly. Wow, this has been amazing. I am just awed at this moment. And thank you so much, Dan. And audience, thank you for tuning in. And we truly appreciate you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.